On One Pot Tiny Kitchen today, get ready to transform your tiny kitchen into a fragrant, luxurious haven. In this video, I'm showing you how to make a rich, aromatic, restaurant-style chicken korma using just one pot. All the ingredients here will be in the description below along with the method. Let's get cooking. We are going to start with 2 tablespoons of ghee in my one pot. Put the heat on, about a medium type heat. Once that's melted, we're going to be adding the cinnamon and cardamom pods. That should be quite warm enough, and we're going to add the cinnamon sticks. Just keep them moving. What we're doing there is infusing the flavours from the spices into the butter ghee. Gently frying that for about 30 seconds. And to that we add the grated carrots and the 2 finely chopped onions. Now you can just make sure that your heat is not too high, because you don't want the onions to go brown. All we're doing, as always, is just cooking them gently so that they go a little bit translucent, and then they'll be ready. Because we're going to be making a paste for the korma today. Right, that's looking good. Starting to get translucent onions. And next thing I'm going to add is the garlic and ginger. I'm going to stir that for about 30 seconds. Fry that. Now I'm going to add most of the rest of the ingredients. This is the almond powder. I've got some sugar. That just balances out the flavours of the spices. And there's the spices. I've now got about a tablespoon of tomato puree, and I've made that up to about half a cup with water. Give that a good stir. As always, the smell is incredible. I'm just going to let that simmer for a couple of minutes or so, just to get the cooking of the spices along the way a little bit. And after that, we're going to be taking it off the heat, putting it in the blender after taking out the whole spices, because they will not blend very well. Okay, that's now ready. I'm going to just turn the heat off for now. I'm going to look for our whole spices. There's one of the cardamom pods. I've got 3 in there. The cinnamon sticks, I've actually got 2 bits because it broke up as I put it in. It's not always easy to find them, of course. Oh, there's one. That's the 3rd cardamom pod. I know there is one more bit of cinnamon stick in there, which I don't want to leave in. I'll come back to you in a minute once I've found it. Right, there it is, I found it. And now we take all of this, put it in our blender, maybe add a teaspoon or tablespoon of water just to get it nice and smooth in the blender. I was just about to say be careful to get it all in there, and of course I missed. Oh dear. I'll just clean up my mess and then I'll show you how I blend it. That is looking quite dry, so I'm actually going to put in about a tablespoon or so of just some water. That's still going to make it quite thick. Just check how smooth that is. It's not too bad, but I'm going to give it a little bit more of a spin. I might just add a drop of extra water. That's looking good. Just show you some of that. Isn't that beautiful? It's going to taste fantastic. Now we put the heat back on. Of course the same pan, medium heat. And we're going to put our paste into the pot. And you're going to let that fry for a few minutes. Just got a few more ingredients to add now. I'm actually going to use, rather than chicken stock, I'm going to use a stock pot. I'll put all my chicken in there. I'm also going to add about 1 cup of water and keep checking it to see if it needs more. Just doing like 1 cup and then half a cup at a time until you get the right consistency. Obviously making sure that your stock cube melts. I'll push that to the bottom. Now already that's looking a bit dry to me, so I'm actually going to add some more water, that is. That's another half cup. The heat's on fairly high, so I'm just bringing it up to temperature, and then we're going to turn it right down so it simmers and cooks the chicken. I'm going to turn that down now. That is the lowest heat on that large setting. I'm now going to add the second last ingredient. This is creamed coconut. There's about 100 grams of that there. That will gradually melt into the sauce. So I'll just push that down a bit. And I'm going to put the lid on for now. And we'll come back to every 5 minutes, give it a good stir. That's been going for a few minutes, time to give it a stir. As you can see, some of the coconut cream or creamed coconut has actually melted, So we just stir some of that in. At this stage I don't want it to be too runny, because the final ingredient we're going to add is actually cream. It gives it that nice rich creamy flavour. If it's too runny now, it's going to be absolutely runny at the end, which is not what we're looking for. Right, lid goes back on for another few minutes. Well, that's been going for about 20 minutes or so. At a nice simmer, so that should have the chicken cooked. I'm just going to take one piece out. And I'm just breaking it open to check the consistency of it, and that does look, obviously won't have any colour, but that does look cooked to me. So I'm happy to taste that one. Yeah, perfect. Right, last ingredient to add is some double cream. Now, entirely up to you how much you actually add, but I would recommend between about 80 and 100 ml. And give it a good stir to mix that in. And that is restaurant-style chicken korma. Time to dish up. And just to finish it off for serving, I'm actually going to add a pinch of garam masala to sprinkle that on top. Just gives it that nice little extra level of flavour. And to go with that, I've got some coriander, which I've just pulled the leaves off, and just roughly pull them apart and sprinkle onto your korma. These two are entirely optional. You do not have to have them. There you go. Finished. There we have it, restaurant style chicken korma. Now I've got to give you the taste test, of course. It's my favourite part. This is not acting. That has got to be one of the best chicken kormas I've ever made. Thick sauce, creamy, got so much flavour, different levels, spectacular.